This is Scott Vanderplu, and you're listening to the Artist Edition Index Podcast, episode 45.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Wow, 45. I'm surprised I made it this far. It's been a good run, one a month. Closing in on 4 years. I did have a month. I skipped once, though, so we're even closer to 4 years, I guess. All right, let's get into the show where we discuss all things AE, taking the written word from aeindex.org and bringing it to voice here on this podcast. For the show focus today, we're going to talk about what isn't happening, and that would be artist editions, or at least that's how it feels lately. Last year, we saw 6 AE format books published. This year we've seen 5, so we're almost at last year, but it still feels, I guess, with the pandemic, I feel like these books are out there but just not coming. We've had let's look at the solicitations, and then we can talk about it from there, and then you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, so currently there are 5 books on my solicitation list. There are a couple more that have been moved to January, but I'm not even sure I believe that. And then there's the Indiegogo from P. Craig Russell, but again, because that's almost 9 months away, I'm not going to put it on until 2021. But if you look at what's listed, we have the Best of Vampirella Magazine Art Edition scheduled for September 30th. I don't think that's going to happen. This book has been moved, 3-4 years now. Next book, Jim Lee's X-Men Artist Edition. Current date from Diamond is October 7th. Scott Dunbier has said on social media that he's got some new pages for that. It's been delayed, but Diamond hasn't changed the date. I don't know if that means IDW hasn't provided a new date, and therefore Diamond hasn't changed their date. But I don't think that's not coming out October 7th. Then we have EC Covers Artist Edition, scheduled for October 28th. Scott Dunbier said on social media again, which is very nice that he's keeping us updated. I think that's great. That he got 3 more. I think 3 more covers that he wanted to add to that. So, excuse me. So there's going to be a delay there. But again, Diamond is not updating the date. Is that because IDW isn't updating? Blah, blah, blah. Wash, rinse, repeat. Next, we have James Cameron's The Abyss Artisan Edition, still scheduled on Diamond for October 28th. This is the book Scott Dunbier said isn't coming out this year. He's hoping for next year. And so we have to wonder. I actually wondered why it was an artisan edition. I never really didn't give it much thought. I've had a couple of interviews with Scott, and I've never asked him. But there's a bunch of pages from this on Heritage, and they're all normal. They're all normal page size, artwork of 12x17. So why is it only being released in an artisan edition in a smaller size? Maybe they feel it won't sell. I looked at the pages. I think Michael Kaluta was going for a photo reference with some of the actors, so. I'm not crazy about the faces in it, but otherwise it's very nice detailed Michael Kaluta art. So I'm not sure why reduced size artist edition versus releasing it as an artist's edition 12x17. Have to wonder. Then we have Michael Golden's Micronauts Artist Edition, which moved from, I think it was June. The current ship date is October 28th. So let's take a look at that. We currently, IDW has 3 books scheduled for October 28th. I'm wondering if any of them will ship. I think the best chance we have is Michael Golden's Micronauts Artist Edition for October 28th. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. And I'm really hoping that we see at least 1 more from IDW this year. If we get the Micronauts and we don't get the other 2 because of their delays, that would be 2 IDW books this year. That's it. 2 for 2020. Wow. When Scott and I talked, he had mentioned he was going to shoot for 4 a year, and if he doesn't announce anything else this year and tries for these books, that would be 4. Those books we saw pushed to 2021 that I mentioned earlier, that's the Diamond is still keeping Don Rosa Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, Volume 2, Artist Edition on the schedule, even though Scott Dunbier said the orders were too low and that wasn't going to happen, but he'd like to try and get that Volumes 2 and 3 out in the future at some point. This is just a constantly moving date. I don't think IDW has let Diamond know that that's canceled. And then we got this other book, right? Jack Kirby Fantastic Four Artisan Edition, which is constantly moving dates. It's also scheduled for January. And, I don't understand that. It's an artisan edition. The material's already been done in an artist's edition. It's been solicited. It was first solicited only through Diamond, which I think was a mistake not having it in the book market. Then I saw it solicited in the book market, and then there's just delay. So some concerns there for sure. And the other concern is, Dark Horse, where are you? 2020, no books. I understand maybe they're doing some delays, but I was happy for the Lone Wolf and Cub, and then I was really hoping we'd see another one this year. And Titan, they showed some interesting things previously. We had the Book of Ballads, in 2017, and we had the Prisoner Original Art Edition in 2018. But then 2019, 2020, nothing. I'd love to see John Bolton or from Titan. They've done some of his work in hardcover. If they had access to original art, let's see that. Please, Titan. That would be amazing. Then we look at the other publishers, right? We know 2000 AD Rebellion was never going to happen again. But Graffiti, MIA. I've reached out to Graffiti to see if I could get an update on their plans for 2020, and I haven't heard back yet. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. Hermes, I don't know. Image, it feels like it's just the Todd McFarlane books from Image. There's so much material from Image that could be out, but I think it's because the way Image works, right? The creator's got to take on the responsibility for that, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Kitchen Sink, again, that's just feels MIA. What happened? Wrapping down from John Lind, winding down, I'm sorry. We'll have to see if something else comes out of that. Just so much material. People constantly think of wish lists and things. There was Heritage announced that there's some never before seen Alex Raymond Flash Gordon artwork that's up for auction from the Raymond family. That'd be amazing to see. That Hal Foster Prince Valiant book did so well. It'd be so amazing to see a Flash Gordon. There's so many hopes and dreams. And speaking frankly, this year I was going to travel to a couple of different libraries and see their collections and see what pages are available, because my interest in reading are newspaper strips. I run another site called ebabble.net, and that's been my main site since '98. And I just do, food, family, whatever. But lately I've been doing a lot of newspaper strip articles, because I've basically stopped writing for Comic Daily, and anything I had on Comic Daily I've transitioned over, or am transitioning over to eBabble. And I would really like to see if I can produce my own AE format book from newspaper strip material, and if I could kickstart it. So that was my plan for 2020, but with COVID, that's completely fallen apart. Being a Canadian, I can't cross the border without having to come back and do a 14-day quarantine, which I can't afford to do. I'm still working. I don't work from home. I work at a site, on site, so that would really disrupt everything. And I'm not sure I'd want to be traveling around right now with COVID in the U.S. All right, so that's the state of what is the state of AE publishing in 2020. It's started off with a bang, and it's very much going to end with a whimper. All right. Well, I gave you the shipping changes. The only change from August was that Micronauts moving up, so that's exciting. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about the poll for this month. This was an interesting one from our good Patreon patron, David Jacoy, who provides it every month and gives me some links to Heritage that I pursue and get the artwork up for the polls. This month's poll was: barbarians have been popular for over a century. Everyone loves swords and sorcery, and as such, the ancient civilizations have penetrated the comic industry and some of the biggest names in cartooning. Who would you like to get an AE format book? The options were John Buscema, Ernie Chan, Tomas Giurello, Gil Kane, Barry Windsor Smith. I will tell you that I voted for Barry Windsor Smith. Yes, Red Nails is from Genesis West, was one of the very early AE format books, not from IDW, but there's so much other material. It looks amazing. John Buscema just killed this kid. 36 votes right now. I'm recording this on August 31st. $29 for Smith, $7 for Girello, $6 for Kane, and $2 for Chan. You know what? This is interesting because when David sent this to me, I thought we could actually do another poll and say which John Buscema artwork from these inkers would you like to see? Because I think we'd see a lot more interest in Ernie Chan if we were talking about John Buscema pencils, Ernie Chan inks. And maybe that's the way to go. So many people. I mean, just Buscema had that amazing run on the Conan stuff, and maybe if we just dealt with all the inkers he did, we'd see a better mix of what people want to see. But I mean, just the samples I put up. Girello's a great artist, so there's some great stuff there. I really enjoyed a lot of the Conan Dark Horse run, and I'd like to see some of that collected. But the Smith stuff just looks so great. Windsor Smith. These were all published before he was Windsor Smith. He was just going by Barry Smith. But the stuff looks amazing. All right. That is the poll. I did want to briefly talk about listener mail, because I got some mail. A mystery was solved for me. So Billy H. Contacted me via Twitter and said, he heard my podcast last month, me saying it's funny nobody's ever done the PayPal thing, and he said I went to PayPal you through the PayPal me link on your site, and they want to charge $1 for whatever he wants to donate. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. So he did it anyways, and thank you, Billy. But I took it off the site. That's crazy that they want to charge you that. If you want to support the site, 2 ways now. I used to say 3 ways. There's 2 ways now. 1, join Patreon Patron. It's $1 or more. You can give me $1 and you can cancel in 2 months. You give me $5 and cancel that month. You can donate whatever you'd like, as long as you like, as often as you like. Patreon works with a monthly donation, so that's probably the best way if you want to give a financial donation to the site. If you're interested in supporting the site by buying books, that's awesome too. Pretty well every link I have on the site is for an affiliate. So if you buy something from Things from Another World, I get a percentage of that. That's my best percentage. Probably my worst percentage is the Amazon links, but Amazon is ubiquitous. And it's interesting to see some of the links I'm putting up now as I review more bande dessinée French material. I'm getting more varying links. I got a place in Quebec, Canada, that has a lot of French material, so I've started to put the links for that. So that's nice. And Amazon France, Amazon Italy, whatever I can do, because these as I said, this dearth of AE format material in English makes me expand and review other things. I'm still trying to maintain my 2 reviews a month, so it's worked so far. It's harder this year. I mean, if you think at 2 reviews a month, we've seen 5 AE books. I mean, if we see 6, that's great, but that means I have to come up with 18 books from elsewhere. So I may be reducing my, we'll see next year. For this year, I'm still going strong with 2 a month, but I may have to reduce that down to 1 review a month next year. And I'm still debating about video. I'm not a video guy. Maybe it's my age. I don't know. I don't watch the videos on YouTube. I don't really care for that. I don't want to watch somebody talk. I'd rather listen to a podcast on my drive to work and from work, or I'd rather read an article and look at the picture. And in my case, pictures, right? I like to use a lot of pictures on the sites. That's just my thing. I like the picto review. I was discussing reviews about eBabble on the Tap Talk forum. Someone linked to the eBabble site. So I had a lot of hits, and they were talking about just my review style. And I really much give facts and pictures. I'm not sure I give a lot of opinions, so that's something I'll be working on. On the eBabble site, I think for AE Index, I'm still going to stick to facts and photos. I'll give opinion on, binding, production, that kind of thing. But I don't want to give really opinion on story. Since this is, as I say at the beginning of a review, right, this is a review of the book, not the material. All right. Babbled on there. Let's talk out-of-print sales for last month, which is July. Now, we have no sales numbers because Diamond has come back and they've not done any sales numbers. So even though we've had an artist edition book printed, let's see, what was the last one? So we had Dave Cockrum's X-Men Artifact Edition in June. Diamond has not released any sales numbers, so I don't think we're going to see sales for that. So As well, this month there's no solicitations again. So it's pretty, it's slim pickings up on the AE Index site right now. We continue to wait, right, for new books, new news, new solicitations. Just give us info and we'll deal with it. All right, let's talk out of print sales. I added some new books to this month, but again, if there's no sales for the last month, I just skip it. All right, Alien Illustrated Story, 2 copies sold for an average of $195. I mean, that blows me away. I don't know what's happened there. That's basically double what this book normally sells for. 2 copies of Bernie Wright's an Artifact Edition sold for an average of $200. Again, boom. What is going on? 1 copy of Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights and Assassins Artifact Edition, $275. That's a jump. Dave Cockrum's X-Men Artifact Edition, 5 copies for an average of $155.08. Dave Gibbons' Watchmen Artifact Edition, 3 copies, averaging $129.98. 2 copies of David Mazzucchelli's Dreadful Born Again Artist Edition, averaging $209.25. So we're seeing a rise again. That it normally hovered around the $200, $225 mark, so we're right in that. 1 copy of Elf Quest Gallery Edition for $99.95. 1 copy of Frank Cho's Savage Wolverine Artist Edition for $139.99. 2 copies of Frank Miller's Daredevil Artifact Edition for an average of $137.50. 4 copies of Gil Kane's The Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition, averaging $84.22. This seems to be a run. It seems to be one seller. Just keep selling these books. All right, 2 copies of Jack Davis's EC Stories Artist Edition, averaging $150.40. 4 copies of Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four Artist Edition, averaging $86.68. Now, that's the book we just mentioned earlier. That's getting an artisan edition, but that keeps getting delayed and delayed. So this is get the artist edition. It's well worth it. 3 copies of Jack Kirby's The Mighty Thor Artist Edition, averaging $131.66. 3 copies of Jim Lee DC Legends Artifact Edition, averaging $158.21. 3 copies of Jim Starlin's Marvel Cosmic Artifact Edition, averaging $85.33. 1 copy of Joe Kubert's Tarzan of the Apes Artist Edition, $66.65. 1 copy of Joe Kubert's Tarzan and the Lion Man Artist Edition for $93.93. Now that's the first and third Kubert Tarzan Artist Edition. I recommend getting all 3. They are great. That was one of the things, that I did not get at the beginning when I started getting artist editions. I sort of skipped that, but then when I went back and it's so easy to really appreciate Kubert's art, and it really shines in these Tarzan books too. All right, 1 copy of John Buscema's Silver Surfer Artist Edition for $91. 2 copies of John Byrne's Fantastic Four Artist Edition, averaging $167.50. That's a bit of a jump. 2 copies of John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition Volume 2 for $101.50 average. 1 copy of Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition for $125. 2 copies of Marvel Covers Artist Edition First Print, $137.50 average. 1 copy of Mike Mignola's Hellboy and Hell and Other Stories Artist Edition sold for $179.94. Now this is an interesting turn of events because almost every month the second print sells and we get no first printings. Finally someone's clued in and said, hey, let's get that first print. 1 copy of P. Craig Russell's Murder Mysteries and Other Stories Gallery Edition, $80.95. 1 copy of Ross Andrews' The Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition for $129.95. I think that may be the highest I've seen this Ross Andrews book so far. Well, I'll have to go back and look that up. Spawn Vault Edition, $300, 1 copy. 1 copy, The Book of Ballads, the Original Art Edition, $35. That's less than half of cover. 2 copies of The Prisoner Original Art Edition, averaging $110. Significantly over cover, so there's something going on there. 1 copy of Usagi Yojimbo Samurai and Other Stories Gallery Edition for $183.75. No copies of Usagi Yojimbo The Artist and Other Stories Gallery Edition, which may possibly be the hardest to get AE format book on this list. 2 copies of Wally Wood's EC Stories Artist Edition, averaging $165. Interesting, first print. No second prints. No first prints of Walter Simonson's Thor Artist Edition, but the second print sold 1 copy for $56. Wow, that's low. And this is really interesting to me. Will Eisner's The Spirit Artist Edition, 1 copy, $260.62. The highest price for an Eisner Spirit Artist Edition. Which reminds me that Artist Edition Index can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook is /Artist Edition Index. Twitter is @AE Index, and Instagram is AE Index. And I'm putting up on Instagram 1 photo a day, no watermark, from all my reviews, starting from the first. We're up to the 10th book, which is Will Eisner's The Spirit Artist Edition, and it is getting the least amount of likes since I started this. I don't quite get it. Are there just not enough Instagram fans of Will Eisner's The Spirit? Very interesting. I don't know why the lack of love, people. It's Eisner, it's The Spirit. What's not to love? All right, that's sales. Let's move on to the reviews from this month. 2 reviews. Again, I'm covering everything now. I'm moving the reviews on to whatever it could be. The DocDave Winiewicz Frazetta Collection Auction Catalog. Now, this is something I ordered in 2015. It is a 10.5 by 14.5 inch hardcover auction catalog, and it is very interesting because it shows the full-size artwork on one side and a blow-up on the other side. And it's the whole catalog. There's a lot of interesting art. I thought, there's a good amount of Frazetta stuff. There's a good amount of other stuff, too. It's an interesting catalog. And what's interesting about it is, of course, the high-resolution PDF copy is no longer available from the site. I don't know why they take that down. The lower-resolution PDF copy, which still looks good, is available on the site. I don't understand why they'd leave up one and not the other. And let me give you the blurb. It's a bit long. We are very proud to present imagery from one of the great American artists, Frank Frazetta, through the collection of Frazetta's closest personal friend of over 40 years, as well as connoisseur, historian, and champion of the master's work, DocDave Winiewicz. Dave himself is a legend in the world of art collectors and unparalleled in his knowledge of the history and legacy of Frank Frazetta. We are grateful and privileged that DocDave chose Profiles in History to showcase these amazing art pieces from his unrivaled collection. DocDave not only offers the collector a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own an actual piece from the collection he painstakingly amassed over decades of his relationship, admiration, and study of Frazetta, but in these pages he has curated a definitive narrative of Frazetta's evolution as an artist and a man. Here you'll experience not only familiar images that have become iconic over time, but you'll also gain insight into methods, processes, and inspirations that fed the imagination and accomplishment of the great Frank Frazetta. In addition to beautiful, fully realized watercolors, oils, and pen and ink masterpieces, you'll marvel at sketches, concepts, and experiments that contribute to the monumental talents and world-famous style of Frazetta. Taken in total, these works truly showcase Frazetta's creativity in its purest and most expert form. There is something for everyone in this sale, from covered pieces related to Conan, Flash Gordon, Tarzan, and other indelible characters that, through Frazetta's work, have become ingrained in the collective consciousness. I guess they could have used the term zeitgeist there. 2 personal correspondence, signed ephemera, artist tools, and even some rare commercial collectibles within reach of every level of collector who's ever dreamt of owning a piece of Frank Frazetta's work. As you turn these pages, DocDave will take you on a colorful and insightful tour of his collection, including some of the most essential creations that blossomed from the mind, pen, and brush of the great Frank Frazetta. In fact, some pieces would have been lost to the ages if not for Dave's tenacity and foresight in preserving them. 200 pages. It was released for $95 US. It is long sold out from Profiles in History. I put down order online eBay because anything out of print I normally put eBay links, but I couldn't find any copies sold either. So I don't know what the status is for this. Stuart Ing has got a copy up on his site for $450. I don't know where that price is coming from. I did see it on Heritage. Maybe that's what he's basing it on. I made a note in the article here. So in 2018, a copy sold for $240 on Heritage. So it's an interesting. I think you really got to want this book. I think I'd heard about it on the forums, and then I jumped to the link, and what they were advertising sounded good. I ordered it, and then I actually got the next big comic art auction they had was 2 soft covers the same size, but Profiles in History sent them for me for free, so they were charging $95 for those again. And I got mine for free, so this is pretty great. This book, a lot of good pictures. Like I said, I linked to the PDF, so you can look at the whole thing yourself. But for my review, I put up the usual amount of good images. And it is really interesting. You get a lot of, Winiewicz's thoughts and things, some personal background on the art. It's a well-done book. I really like the full-size image on the right and a blow-up of part of it on the left. It works really well. And then the art, not a lot of paintings. I guess the paintings are the big money, though, right? That's what Frazetta. But you see a lot of other things. I really appreciated the pen and ink work from Frazetta. I like the older comic stuff. I love Johnny Comet. So to see Johnny Comet originals in here, that was amazing. And then he's got Doc Winiewicz has also got a collection. He had a collection of other stuff. He's got a Jim Holdaway Modesty Blaze in here. He's got some Al Williamson stuff. Just a lot of great art. And it's an interesting catalog. Would I pay $4.50 for it? No, absolutely not. But please pop on the review, take a look at the pictures, take a look at the PDF, and you can judge it yourself. Like I said, very, very well done catalog. I really would love to see this kind of thing produced from other auction houses. It was worth the $95, absolutely. All right, the other review I did this month was Mauvaise Tête, which is, I think it means, Google Translate tells me it's the bad head, but I was wondering, is it sick in the head? I'm just wondering if there's a more liberal translation of that doesn't quite work. And it's the adventures of Spiro and Fantasio, and it is the work by Andre Franquin. It is the 6th album he produced of Spiro and Fantasio. It is a very well done book. Here's another one where I got it on sale. It's 11 by 16 inches. Released in March 2018. It's 96 pages. It's 119 euros, which sounds like a lot, and it is. But I got it on sale from Amazon. I think I paid 20 euros for it. This was fall, maybe November of 2019, so it wasn't that long ago. It was a great deal. They talk on the forums again about this kind of thing, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll order that. Just like I ordered the other Franklin book that I reviewed a couple months ago. And I would continue to order them. If there's a deal, man, original art like this, man, Franklin art, art is gorgeous. To look at these pages is just stunning. Really stunning. Let me give you the blurb. Mauvaise Tête is the 6th great adventure of Spiro and Fantasio, imagined and drawn by Andre Franquin in 1954. This version Originale presents the plates as they appeared before the author's eyes, with his pencil line under the indie ink, repentance in white gouache touch-ups, and with a razor blade, the lines intended to support the letters of the speech bubbles, and invites you to dive into the production process. Mauvaise Tête is one of the most cinematic episodes of the series, supporting comparison with the best thrillers of the time and even the best comedy films. This large format version, enriched with period documents, allows the reader to appreciate both the narrative and graphic talents of Franklin. Again, this is me using Google Translate and trying to massage it into language that works better. I see I missed that repentance in white, so I think correction or sins in white gouache. I don't know, what would be repentance? I'll have to, interesting. All right. A lot of great stuff here. So apparently Franklin worked on he worked on a different page layout. And this book is really great the way it presents. It presents the original art. Then you see then you get some background material at the time, what was coming out in 54, maybe what could this be compared to, what was Franklin using as inspiration. And then you get the complete book in color, so they do 4 pages to a page of this, and that's from the original Spiro magazine that this was printed in. Then we sort of close with a gallery of some original art related from the book. We got the cover reproduction from not too late after this, and some other art. It is a really well done book. There's it's a good size, 96 pages, but I don't know how to describe the paper. The book is so light, it weighs nothing. The paper it's white. It's not a brilliant white. It's pretty close though. It's matte. Unfortunately, any of the dark text and things, it comes right through the paper. When you look at my review, and you can see through the pages. But when you're looking at the page, it's not distracting, or it doesn't seem to come through. There are panels lost, and those have been replaced in the book. Like most AE format books, you can't get it all sometimes. So it is just a beautiful presentation. I don't think I can say enough about how great Franklin is. As I've talked about in this show many times, I prefer these books to be readable. I like the AE format books to have the text. I like to read along. I like to enjoy it in this format. I don't read French, unfortunately. All the text is here. So this is a book for English readers only, that you just have to admire the art. You can have the other option is I have Isneo. I just had my tablet open, and I had the pages in English sitting there, so you could follow along. But yeah, it's pretty great. That's all I can say. All right, that's it for this month. Let's hope some books come out in September. I don't have any hope that we will see any books in September. please pop me a line if you have some ideas of what books I can review. Like I said, I'm still going. I've now expanded into auction catalogs. I have a few more of those. I'm still working on foreign language material, and I'm also working on books that are not AE original art size, but are AE format books at a smaller size. So there's still some out there. So we'll keep working for 2 a month. We'll see what happens. Again, join me online, aeindex.org. Check out all this stuff in print with photos. Follow us on social media. Support the site. Become a patron. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to buy any of these books, use my links. Thank you, and we'll talk again next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.